I'm so glad you're listening. I'm Hugh Hewitt. Now, I almost hesitate to tell you that I'm in California since about three-quarters of you, of my 400 affiliates, are basically buried. This major winter storm named Uri, why I do not know, has smashed records in Texas and Oklahoma. It got started in the Pacific Northwest. It made its way down south. Now it's bouncing back up in Maine, where it's got ice storms all along the place. It has set records of the sort you really don't want to set on the long weekend. And there is, it continues to smash through. All of my beloved Ohio is under a winter storm warning at this hour. And as we look at the recap, it started in the Pacific Northwest with heavy snow and damaging ice Friday into Saturday, and Seattle had a 2-day snowfall of 11 inches, which of course means Amazon didn't shut down because it's Amazon. Heavy snow and wind gusts over 60 miles an hour were reported in Albuquerque, New Mexico. 6 inches of snowfall in Oklahoma City, where oil drilling stopped, of course. In Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth just stopped. They had 4 inches of snowfall. In Ohio, we call that May. But in Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth, they shut down. Parts of the Houston metro area had 5 inches of snow, which we call April in Ohio, but they shut down too. And they've got pictures of people on skis in Houston. And San Antonio, I gather you avoided it. You're the only place in Texas. So people are retreating to San Antonio in long columns of refugees from the winter, as the funniest tweet of the day came from the Babylon Bee. Millions who left California for the Texas finally feel at home as they lose power. And so I understand the weather story. There's not much I can cover for you. All of our stations have local weather inserts. So let me go to the news of the day. Hope you had a great long weekend. Hope you enjoyed our President's Day show yesterday. As I predicted, in 2020, President Trump was acquitted over the weekend. So let's go to the other news. Benjamin Netanyahu. If 570,000 more people over the age of 50 get vaccinated, Israel will be done with COVID. They've opened the stores, gyms, culture is moving back towards normalcy in Israel because the vaccine works. And they've got about 500,000 people, 570,000 over 50, need to get vaccinated, and they will be done. In Britain, their fast-running coronavirus campaign has hit its early target, offering a first dose to 15 million elderly people and healthcare workers. The death rate is plummeting. From the Financial Times, the rollout of the vaccine in the European Union is an absolute flabbergasting mess. It makes the American California rollout appear to be Amazon. It really is. It's just an utter and total mess. But what this is teaching us is small, compact states that are highly homogeneous, and Israel is. It does have an Arab minority. It does have a ultra-Orthodox minority, which are difficult to work with. But it's a highly homogeneous and patriotic group, highly informed citizenry, and it works there. Other places, not so much. By the way, in Israel, Netanyahu says, whoever endangers us on Iran nukes, for example, I oppose that. Joe Biden has still not called Benjamin Netanyahu, as President Biden is attempting to send a message, I guess, that we don't like Israel. I don't know what that is. It's bad. They are our most reliable ally in the world. And I assume that, like the arms review of the United Arab Emirates and like the arms halt to Saudi Arabia, the cold shoulder to Israel is President Biden's way of saying, we're not the people that liked you. You had your way with Team Trump, and you're not going to get anything from us. And Netanyahu said, I'm not worried. I got a lot of friends in Congress in both parties. He's, by the way, beginning to be buoyed in the polls by the fact that he has rolled out. He's gotten Pfizer and Moderna to both agree to put plants in Israel. I know that Netanyahu is extremely unpopular in some areas of the country as they approach their March 23rd elections, but you get a big success like this, it's going to be great for him. New York Times lead story today: Biden and the Fed leave 1970s inflation fears behind. Administration and Fed officials argue that workers are not getting enough stimulus, and that is a larger concern than potential spikes in consumer prices. And so this is a very long story justifying spending $1.9 trillion on the biggest rescue stimulus package ever by a factor of 100%. And many people have stepped up to say, whoa, Nelly. Michael Strain at the AEI, my worry is that by pushing the economy so hard, it will lead to overheating. Laura Summer, former Secretary of the Treasury for Bill Clinton, former senior advisor to Barack Obama, warned that judged relative to either the macroeconomic output gap or the declines in family income, the proposed COVID-19 relief package appears very large. There are others. Austin Goolsbee, who you've heard here before, President Obama's Council of Economic Advisors chair, said, don't worry about inflation. There have been many prominent voices saying that there was about to be inflation for more than 10 years. And it's great when people predict inflation and it doesn't come until it comes. If you are a child of the 70s, if you were trying to get your first job in 1978, as I was, and the rents were going up every month, and gasoline was soaring, and food was rising, and you didn't have any money, it was a very unfortunate time. Inflation can devastate. That gives me a moment to go and check the markets this morning.